Hey, favorite ones. It's 11:01 on the clock, so you may be seeing 111. Welcome in. Come on in, everyone. Hi, favorite ones. Today is going to be a pick a pile reading, and yeah, come on in. Take a seat at the round table. For anyone who wishes to, may throw a coin in the wishing well. And of course, we'll get on into it. So, for any of those who are returning, thank you for your continued love and support. And for any of those who are new, welcome and thank you for clicking on the video and deciding to join us here at the round table. So, today is a bit of a different approach, and I'm super excited about it. I've only done this once before, and I call it an open mic reading. I'm not quite sure what else to call it besides Rapsodomancy, because I looked it up, and there is no such thing as a rap divination, but since rap is rhythm and poetry, and Rapsodomancy is using poem as divination, that's what we're going to call it for today. Once I come up with a name for it, besides open mic divination, I'll come up with a name for it. But for now, since I'm the only one who's really done this, I don't really have a name for it. So today I'm gonna be splitting up my first track release into two different parts, and I will be rapping the verse and the second verse for you. So that's what you'll be choosing from. I'll have a setup on the screen so you can choose, and it'll just be a little script. You'll either have number 1 or number 2, and once I get that set up, which I probably should have done beforehand, but you want to know what? I was just so excited to get to it. So, yeah, want to know what we'll do instead? Pile number 1 will be the Carnelian, and pile number 2 will be Amethyst. There's a plane going over right now, so you may be changing different planes, going through different planes of existence right now as the collective. As a collective, I wanted to go over the hook part as a collective message, and then I will have timestamps below for those who aren't interested in the collective reading, or for those who would just like to get started on your reading. That's perfectly fine. You're valid. All right, for the hook though, for my song, it's ships travel fast, stability at last, completely carefree, star wish eternity, dream realm dragon, lights camera action, shadow self-aware, snapshot souvenir. So I feel like right now the collective as a collective, our ships are coming in and they're traveling fast. And like for those who don't know, back in the day when you were ship merchants and you would have lots of cargo and everything go across the ocean, much like it does now. But back in the day, you weren't able to get word from the ships except for when they made port. So that was the kind of energy of ships are coming in. Some of you, merchandise is coming in and you're starting a merch program. For others, this is resources, feeling stable at last. So, because the next one is stability at last. So your ships are coming in. You're finding more stability within your life. You may have had a toppling moment not too long ago with finances, which makes sense. So, you know, it's March is the hungry month of March. So that's when I'm recording this. But of course, since readings are timeless, you could be seeing this whenever, and I appreciate you, especially if it's not new and you're clicking on it. That means that it's true that readings are timeless. I feel like you're timeless too, my collective, because you're star wish on eternity. You are starseeds living through an eternal existence. And, you know, some of you might be getting in touch with the dragon realm with it through your dreams. That may not be for everyone in the collective, but yeah, I'm definitely feeling like you might be interacting with the dragon realm in your dreams. A lot of you are going into show business, or you could have a music career regarding music videos coming up with the lights, camera, action. Some of you may be doing a documentary for yourself. Some of you may be starting up TikToks. But I feel like lights, camera, action. You're becoming self-aware of your shadow attributes, because shadows can have attributes. You may be realizing that some of your shadow parts of yourself aren't anything to be guilty of, feel guilty or shameful of. Some people, for our shadow attributes, is actually the kindness that we have to give, because over time we felt like we were being used and talked over, so we started getting aggressive to get things that we want. But that's not really our true selves. Our shadow selves is those who want to be kind and, treat others with integrity. So snapshot souvenir. A lot of you are being more mindful and taking in the present moment. A lot of you may be taking more photos of yourself or your family, because you started to realize that you are worth commemorating as well. And your memories of yourself is worth remembering. Some of you may have been camera shy when you were younger, and now you're like, you want to know what? I want these memories, not for anyone else. And not to shame myself, but to show how much fun I was having in this moment, so you can look back on it. So that's what I feel for as the collective, is that we're really starting to appreciate ourselves in the present moment, looking into our shadow selves and realizing that not all of us and not all of our whole being is bad. That's the human experience. We come with the good, the bad, and everything in between. And you're learning to balance that out and finding stability and seeing that you're getting the resources that you need. Maybe you need help. Maybe you need therapy. Maybe you need that extra support within your community and a support system right now. And you're knowing what you need and you're going after it. So yeah, I will be starting off, and I will see you in your pile. So thank you for sticking around for the collective reading. And yeah, remember that all these are general, so it may not all apply. And if it doesn't, and you feel within yourself and your own free will and discernment that this reading isn't for you, then that's perfectly all right. I appreciate you staying around if you find that you enjoyed my advice regardless. And if not, you're welcome to click on any of my other readings. I'll see you in your pile. Bye! So pile number 1, if you chose the Carnelian, then this pile is for you. Carnelian is attached to fire signs, so you may have some fire in your top 3 or your north node, or you just may work with Archangel Michael a lot as well. So yeah, I'm going to roll dice for you. So we have 115. So some of you may be master numbers 1-1. And that's just starting out. So some of you are starting out on a new path towards big change with the 5. Or January 15 was a big time for you. Or November 5th coming up will be a turning point for you. So we have here for pile number 1, verse 1 is crack open sesame, doors of opportunity, lay hands of Midas, light seed compass, chemical bounce beaker, light brush against reaper, flow with leisure, mythical creature, fountain of youth, moon speaks truth, worth the pursuit, peace cornucopia, automatopoeia, welcome to utopia, harmony idea. How many timelines now on standby? Things we've been through, I'll never forget you. Epitome of hero, cute like Gizmo, witty lively elf, reclaiming thyself. So yeah, you are on a journey of welcoming in utopia. and reclaiming yourself. You're being more witty, you're being more lively, you're being playful, which I feel like is what's cracking open those doors of opportunity. Like everything you are touching right now is turning to gold because you're recognizing that laughter and fun, and the reason why kids could manifest things so easily was because they, not only because of their imagination, but because of their playfulness, the constant energy of flow. So you're noticing that that energy of flow is the way to go. But yeah, flow with leisure, mythical creatures. So yeah, I feel like a lot of you may be the pile that converses with the dragons or other spiritual realms at this time. A lot of you may have traveled across the ocean at one point or another in order to set up a new life and making a home. Yeah, your feast of cornucopia is coming in. You are worth the pursuit. A lot of you could speak to the moon, or you have a group that you speak with that you find a way to find the hidden truth, because the moon card inside a tarot symbolizes removing the hidden truth. So you are removing any illusions and finding the truth that you are worth the pursuit, and your feast is being welcomed in at this time. Some of you may have had a brush, like a lip brushed against Reaper. Some of you may have had near-death experiences and deal with maybe chemical imbalances in your life with chemical balance speaker, or you may have had addictions at one point and you have let go of that. You're no longer brushing your lips against with Reaper. So for some of you, this is addiction that you curbed. For some of you, this was a fatal accident that you had gone through. And for some of you, this is both. And for all of you, I'm proud of you. It is not easy to recover from addiction. It's not easy to recover from accidents and not let yourself be consumed by what happened and circumstances. You realized circumstances is about where you are, not who you are. And you decided to put your old self on standby. You were like, how many timelines do I have on standby? Because I'm not willing to change. The definition of insanity is to continue doing the same things and expecting a different results. So you're like, how many timelines are now on standby from the things that I've been through? And you're like, you want to know what? How many timelines now on standby because of the way that I am or what has happened? And you're like, the things I've been through, I'll never forget you. So you were never going to forget that person that you were, that decided to make a change for yourself. You were so grateful to that past version of yourself that was like, you want to know what? This isn't the end of me. This car accident, it's not the end of me. This abusive relationship, not the end of me. This abusive substance use is not going to get the best of me. Me not being able to eat properly and having a bad relationship with food, it's not going to be the end of me. I am more than this. And you're doing it, pile number one. You're opening it. Not only are you opening, you're cracking it wide open. You're like, open sesame, it's me, pile number one, coming to get the feast that I deserved. Because you want to know why? Because I'm hot. I sizzle. Automatopoeia. Get it? I am hot. Basically, is what you're doing. You're coming out of the gates. You are looking hot. You have never made recovery look so good. Recovery has never looked so good as it has looked good on you, pile number one. Yeah, you are the epitome of hero for yourself. You were waiting for a hero to come rescue you, and you're realizing you're the adult that you needed when you were younger. You would have stood up for yourself. You would have treated yourself better. And to me, that is the epitome of a hero. Is becoming the very person you would have trusted and wanted when you were going through those things. Now, doesn't mean when you were exactly a child, like it could have been 5 years ago, you know, that's still your younger version of you, like 2 years ago, 1 year ago, you know, 6 months ago. It doesn't matter. That younger version of you that was yesterday is so proud. The fact that you're, you know, some of you may have felt like you weren't deserving of love because of, you know, where it said chemical imbalance. It could be depression. It could be, you know, a lot of other things. I'm not a doctor, so don't take my diagnosis. And if you need extra help, of course, please reach out. I didn't make it all on my own either. I eventually, you know, was brave and reached out for help. Looked up self-help books, and I feel like that's what you did as well. You didn't give up on yourself. And I want you to know that's not easy. It is very easy to give up on yourself and be like, you want to know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take responsibility for myself. I'm going to let other people take care of me. It is hard to be like, you want to know what? I'm responsible for myself. I'm responsible for the actions I take, and this is how I'm going to make it up to people, or I'm going to leave them alone and move on and do better with my life. Some of you may have OCD because I keep seeing the thing in the corner and I want to fix it, but it's not bugging me, so I'm going to move it in case it's bugging one of y'all. Anyway. Or you just like things being in a certain order. Maybe you weren't as cleanly as before, and now you are trying to take better care of yourself. What is it I want to say? Oh yes, from the like movie with Gizmo, you know, knowing your limits and knowing what's good for you and what's not good for you and following those guidelines. So you're not allowing other people to pressure you. You're not people pleasing as much anymore. You know, Gizmo, his rules is no sunlight, no water, no food after midnight. So you're like, yo, I don't drink. I'm not staying out after midnight, and you know, I prefer to, you know, be less spontaneous with things. I like to have, you know, for those who have meltdowns, if you don't have certain amounts of time to change and adjust, you know you need those for yourself, so you give yourself an hour to wind down after events before you move on, or you just take a day off after you get home from vacation so you're not going straight to work. Excuse me. Oh God, extra confirmation. Some of you might have Gustus. I think Gustance. Whatever way it's pronounced. It's where gas or stomach or flavors. You may notice that you get that a lot as well with confirmation. So you're starting to recognize what you need to make a happy thing, and you're not allowing people to go over your boundaries so that you don't end up being a gremlin, right? Some of you may have felt like you were a gremlin, but people are mishandling you, and you realized once you removed yourself from a certain environment, you weren't going all gremlin anymore because people weren't throwing water and stuffing food down your throat and exposing you to sunlight. You know, surrounding yourself with people who know your limits, who know what you need and how to support you is the best way to go. Support system is like highly underrated. I feel like support systems should be the number one thing that people are to, you know, get put on. People like, you got a good support system, because that I feel like is a really big step, because when I had people around enabling or just like talking me down or using me as a proverbial and, for me, an actual punching bag. It wasn't easy to want to change or do better. I'm here, I gotta do better, I gotta do better, gotta be better, I gotta be better, yo. Some of you might like Absol. Know better, do better. Maya Angelou is what I'm feeling. And you do know better. And you're doing better. And sometimes you slip back into your old ways. And that's, you know, sometimes we stumble. Healing isn't linear. But you are recovering. And for some of us, we'll be in recovery forever. And that doesn't make us any less valid for our, you know, achievements. It doesn't make us any less valid in the fact that we need support. You know, people are like, oh, they've been doing it forever, they don't need support. Yes, you do. You deserve support. And if you're saying you don't need anyone, then you may want to look at that, because that is a trauma response, hypervigilance and hyper-independence. You deserve to let other people cut your hair, and you deserve to be pampered and treated right by others. And I feel like you're on the right path here. Some of you may need to hear that. Some of you may be like, am I on the right path? And I feel like you are. It's just, it's rough because no one else has walked that way before. You know, when you go through a new path that you decided to make yourself through a field of wheat, you're gonna have to knock down all the obstacles, right? The weed that's in the way, the wheat in the shaft. You gotta move, get rid of the weed in the shaft. I can't believe that's how the message turned around, but that's awesome. Okay. Yeah, you gotta separate the wheat from the shaft and make your way down the path. And I feel like you really are pile number one. So thank you everyone for coming through. I hope this message resonated and you feel encouraged along your path and gave you some confirmation. I will have it listed below, the link for my new song that these lyrics came from. I'm super excited for my first track, and if you would give it a listen, I would much appreciate it. So remember to eat, hydrate, rest, and have fun. Bye! Pile number 2, if you chose the amethyst, and this pile is for you. You may be an air sign, as I know that Aquarius is attached to, which one is it? Aquarius. You may be Aquarius, or you may have Aquarius placements in one of your top 3. You don't have to, that's just extra confirmation. Some of you may work with Archangel Raphael or work in the healing fields, whether that's holistic or pharmaceutical. Since Raphael is the Archangel of healing. It also brings to mind Hermes. So some of you may be messengers or messengers over long distance. You relay messages of healing or do healing for long distances like Reiki or Prana. Because Hermes has the symbol of the Caduceus, which is the same symbol that they use inside of the ambulance symbol. So some of you may be long distance healers. And if you aren't yet, then that seems like what's moving on the path for you right now. So, pile number 2, this is your wrap for you, is Hecate emblem serpent, cash mail merchant, Lunawax crescent, moving with discernment, deep dive Loch Ness, checkmate funness, coming up empress, visionary sorceress, read what's sown, outside comfort tone, charted the unknown, divine microphone, settle in the score, triumphs galore, fableness lore, carving out nevermore, just explore furies, communicate sobriety, cultivate recovery, moments held savory, crystal clear quartz, answers in source, rune casting Norse, tantric intercourse. Alright, let's get into it. So I feel like trigger warning for some of you, this could be a heavy. For some of you, I feel like you're, for those who aren't asexual, if you are asexual, then this part of the message isn't for you. I feel like a lot of you are looking towards healing your sensual side. Some of you may have been SA'd while growing up or as an adult, and you're learning how to use BDSM or tantric healing as a way to reconnect with the body after, you know, sometimes you get disconnected from your body after such a horrific event has taken place, and it's easier to sometimes go through therapy with a tantric healer or BDSM and release those fears, and being able to change the narrative of a certain scene that happened to you. Redirecting memories is another way of doing it, where you meditate and you envision how the situation went down, but you change the ending so that you can free yourself and feel better. I forget what it's called. My one psychologist friend was telling me about it. If you know what it is below, or if he's watching, if you could if this is your pile, can you let me know below what it's called? So Hecate emblem serpent. Some of you may like snakes or reptiles, bats, stuff like that, that are so cute, but a lot of people are fearful of them. I feel like a lot of people misjudge you at first. You may have resting bitch face. But, yeah, confirmation. But then they realize later that you are very giving, that you are someone who moves with discernment. You may make sure that you are paid for what you are due. You like cash on the barrel type of personality, where you make sure that people get paid. You're not the type of one who you think if everyone should get paid for it, even if it's like for something free, you should have some sort of energy exchange for it. You're not the type of person who feels like things are for free, even if they are. You try to energetically give back as much as possible. You like to pour into others as much as they pour into you, and people were surprised by that because they may have felt like, you know, a lot of people don't think. A lot of people might have thought that you weren't generous, that maybe once you had money, you weren't going to be generous with others regarding it, because it's like a cash barrel merchant. And just like, you know, cash barrel merchants really wanted to make that sale, right? But you're a cash on the barrel type of person, which means you always pay up, like, you pay what's your oh my god, thank you, Spirit. I was like, how do I say this? Okay, here, finally it is. Some of you might love Game of Thrones or House of Dragons, because what they brought to mind is to tell them Lannisters always pay their debts. That's what I'm hearing, is that some people are surprised that you are constantly making sure you pay off your debts, that you don't want to use people for what they have, which could have been surprising because of the way the environment that you work in moves. So you may work in an environment where people are like trying to be crabs in the bucket, but you're not like that. You're not trying to use people. You're not trying to one up them. You want to make sure that everyone's getting to the top. Some of you may live in Scotland with the deep dive Loch Ness monster, or you may live next to Ogopogo. Oh, what's the other one? I know there's another one. But yeah, you may delve into more of the supernaturals and the elemental beings, such as Bigfoot or the Ogopogo, Mothman, stuff like that. You may connect with giants and gnomes a lot more often, whereas the other pile, I know there were like dragons and stuff. I feel like this pile is the ones who converse with like fairies and mermaids. Some of you may enjoy playing chess or having verbal debates. You really enjoy having deep discussions. I don't feel like this pile is the one for like small talk. Definitely not the small talk type. It says visionary sorceress. You are very visionary. You may be clairsentient and claircognitive. You may just have a knowing and see a lot of visions. And reaping what's sown. So some of you may be seamstress as well. And not like seamstress, like what, tailors, seamstress. What's the gender neutral for a sewer? Clothes altar? I don't know. I don't know. I never thought to think on that one. Yes, I feel like you are in wardrobe, you are in fashion, you are a tastemaker. Yeah, you're a tastemaker. You may do shoe repairs as well. Chartering the unknown. A lot of you may travel a lot, like one of those like throwing the dart at a map and just deciding. Very spontaneous. You may travel a lot on a whim, like showing up at the airport and then being like, okay, where are we going today, and seeing like which flight goes somewhere. It's very yes man energy. But like not like the negative way, I mean like more so the movie. Like you want to explore and do as much as possible. And a lot of people may have not have thought that with you. So yeah, a lot of you may be dealing with the moon phases at this time. Because Hecate is about like different moon phases. So some of you may do rituals or meet up with a bunch of friends for the moon phases. So you're with divine microphone, I feel like the universe is starting to give you a microphone to speak out of. You are divinely guided to be speaking your story at this time. If you have not started sharing your story, this is a sign to share your story wherever you feel comfortable, whether it's in your journal to write a poem and share a book, documentary. But I feel like speaking out your truth is very important at this time. Yeah, settling the score. I feel like all of your karma debt has been paid off and you're starting with a clear slate, is what I'm feeling from settling the score and triumphs galore, fables, myths, and lore. So yeah, some of you may be speaking the truth about how some things aren't myths or lore or fables, like, you know, aliens, starseeds, how Angels just might be different types of aliens because they're from a different energetic realm. Your adventures with seeing fairies, your adventures with talking with animals, stuff like that, because justice roars furies. I'm feeling a lot of connection with deities, whatever you want to call them. But I feel like they're reaching out to you at this time for, of course, those who have worked with them before. If not, then, of course, be careful with approaching. Let them know that it's for friendship only and for only as long as you guys are serving each other's purposes, and then you'll move on from each other's lives, much like any relationship. So yeah, you're really, yeah, I feel like it's not just talking about, like, fables, myths, and lores and what you've seen out there and, telling the truth. Stepping outside of your comfort zone. I feel like a lot of you are singers as well. I feel like sharing your voice, sharing your story is you singing. The fact that you can sing, that's the story. The story is you are a singer. Some of you, this is communicating your sobriety. That's how you are telling your story. You are telling your story of your recovery, how you got better, how you stood up for, the people that did those things to you and not letting them get away with it. Justice roaring with your fury. And a lot of you are biting back your anger, and I want you to remind you that anger is useful when used in the proper way. Your anger is letting you know that you are being mistreated in a certain way. And it is up to you to listen to that anger and find out what boundary is being crossed and how you can better protect yourself and in the future. But sometimes, you could do everything and things could still go sideways. So I want to let you know that it's not your fault. You didn't deserve it. And they knew better. They knew better, and they should have did better by you. A lot of you could be into Vedic poetry, which is where rune casting originally came from the North. It's called the Vedic. And there was the other one, which starts with an S. Stoic. No, that's a philosopher. Either way, a lot of you may enjoy old-time poetry or looking into anthropology and looking up old cultures, and you're learning to tell the truth about cultures, about how, a lot of things were shown about Alexander the Great not being gay, but now he's gay because they're proving it with actual facts that were disregarded back in the day because being gay wasn't accepted. So they didn't accept it as their findings, or how they how they have changed that the history for that, and how they changed history a lot. And you're going back and we're going through with new open eyes. And for some of us, we're going with, spiritual eyes with the quantum hypnosis healing techniques for Dolores Cannon as well. Some of you are going back in your own timeline to clear up any misconceptions and clear up all those fears that you may have had cultivated from your parallel lives, and releasing it so that you can move on, feeling crystal clear quartz, feeling cleansed, transparent, feeling ready, and to clear that slate off. So a lot of you may have went through past life regressions and have found out what was your blockage. A lot of you are going higher and finding out what your blockages are. Cultivating recovery is your birthright. You're cultivating your recovery. You're learning how to speak up about your sobriety. You're learning how to roar justice for others who may need it. Carving out nevermore. Yeah. Oh, okay. Carving out nevermore. Some of you are getting your chance at speaking out. A lot of us back in the day, not very long ago, women weren't allowed to be published. A lot of you are actually going to publish. Maybe republish yourself, as some of you may be older in age, and back in the day, you published yourself under a male author's name, and some of you have been thinking about getting republished or remastering a song so you have control over it now. You may not have the legal rights to the book that you produce because of a company that you had signed up with, the publishing company, and you're wanting to relaunch it with a different cover and have more control over what you said in it and who you dedicate it to. And that's brilliant. I'm so excited for you. You should always always find a way to have control over your own story and your own narrative. Yeah, yeah, the universe is giving you your divine microphone, and they're saying, like, it's your turn to speak. They are passing you the divine microphone. You know how there's the talking pillow? Well, the universe is giving you your divine microphone, and they're like, it's time. It's time, favored one. It is time for them to know the truth. It is time for them to see the real you. Because you are not fooling spirit. You could pretend you're the meanest person. You could pretend that you don't care. You could pretend that, telling your story isn't a big deal. But it is. The universe thinks you're a big deal. And it's your birthright to come here and sing, tell your story, be a chess master. Yeah, some of you may be in gaming tournaments. A lot of you may have, that's how you're speaking your truth, by saying, hey, I want to play in tournaments, like sports tournaments, gaming tournaments. Like 5 years ago, everyone was getting talked down to for wanting to be Twitch streamers, for wanting to do pro gaming and, do tournaments that way, and like MTG and everything else like that. But nowadays, it's like the go-to. Everyone's going to it. So, like, people may not understand your vision. You're a visionary sorceress, a visionary wizard, whatever you want, a sorcerer. That's the other one. You're a visionary sorcerer. You're a visionary sorceress. You are coming up. Because it has here, coming up empress, visionary sorcerer. See, coming up emperor, visionary sorcerer. Apply where it applies. You are coming up. And the universe, creator, God, whatever you believe in, the winds of change, are handing you your divine microphone and being like, don't worry. You're chartering the unknown, but you are not alone, is what Spirit and your guides want you to know. Yeah, you're going to reap what you sow. And what you've sown is cheering for others, for believing in love. So, yeah, you have doubts every now and then. That's perfectly normal for humans. You're allowed to have that moment. But then you're also allowed to move on from it. That's the wonderful thing about these emotions here that we're experiencing, is that it's not forever. But yeah, moments held savory. You're really savoring the moments now. You're taking the moment to slow down and really invest your time in yourself. A lot of you thought about giving up, and I feel like you are starting to feel that relief and that, wow, I'm really glad I didn't give up on myself and I'm here. I know that's a heavy feeling, so you want to know anyone who's ever thought about leaving and you're still here, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Like, for real, for real. Because, you know, you're here, you're clicking on this video, you're being a favored one. You are bringing so much light to the world. You brought light to my world by just watching this and for being here, being you. I know, because I can feel your guys' energy through. It feels warm. It feels like you just sat down inside of the kiddie pool outside in the backyard that's been sitting in the sun for a little bit. And you got the sunscreen on your face and you're like, life's good. That's what you feel like. You feel like a warm, sunny day and in the backyard having fun. You're a joy to be around, and I'm sorry for whoever made you feel like you weren't. And if that person was you, I forgive you for being mean to yourself, but I'll be here to remind you how cool you are, okay? So I love you, pile number 2. I love all my favorite ones here. Thank you. I really appreciate you. I'm going to have it linked below, so if you could check out my first track, I'd appreciate it. And I hope this was all fun for you, having an open mic. I haven't done it since, like, who knows, last year around this time. So thank you, everyone, for coming through. I really appreciate your continued support, and I never imagined being this far, and having people around to celebrate it's heartwarming. So remember to eat, hydrate, rest, and have fun. Bye!